Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Chapter 11, Digestion. Definition: the process by which food and drink are broken down into their smallest parts so the body can use them to build and nourish cells and to provide energy. Digestion begins with the mouth when chew and swallow and complete in the small intestine. For the chewing purpose, teeth are present in the mouth. In the case of human being, the total number of teeth 32. The name of the teeth that are present both above and below: incisors, canines, premolar and molar. Incisors, that are the front teeth, their number is 4 above as well as below. So total numbers of incisors are 8 in the mouth. Next to the incisors, teeth present are known as canines. Their number both above and below 2 mean total 4. Then premolar, above and below 4 means total number of premolar in the mouth 8. And the last are known as the molars, above and below 6, so their total number is 12 in the mouth. The bones of the upper jaw is known as the maxilla, while the bones of the lower jaw known as mandible. Now the digestive tract, it is a series of hollow organs that is joined in a long twisting tube from mouth to anus. The twisting tube twists, as you can see, that are present in the small intestine. The two solid digestive organs that helps in the process of digestion are the liver and pancreas. Their function is to produce the juice that reach the small intestine through small tubes. Parts of other organs and system also play a major role in the process of digestion, like the nerves and blood. Now the mechanical and chemical digestion of food. The gastrointestinal tract, gastro word is for the stomach and intestinal is for the intestine. So gastrointestinal tract, it starts from the oral cavity, means mouth, where the teeth grind and chew the food. Grinding mean to break down the food into smaller particles. Mastication, the chewing process with the help of which teeth grind the food into smaller particles, is known as mastication. It depends upon muscles. Two main types of muscles. First one is the masseter, second one is the temporalis. First one, masseter. These are the facial muscles. Facial word is for the face, that is located in the cheek. Second, temporalis. It is located at the temporal bone in the skull, which is the bone of the side of the skull. Along with these two main muscles, other smaller muscles also play their role and permit the fine control. They move the lower jaw against the upper jaw and enable the crushing of hard food into smaller particles. The diagram showing the temporalis muscle that is present in this region, and another one is the masseter muscle present in this region. Now the saliva. The mastication or chewing process cause the exocrine gland to secrete the saliva. The exocrine gland, they are present under the tongue and in the back of the mouth that secrete watery liquid saliva. pH of the saliva. The normal range of saliva pH is from 6.2 to 7.6. Chemical composition of the saliva, composed of 99.5% water, enzymes, electrolytes like sodium, potassium, calcium, mucus, proteins, antimicrobial agent like IgA, Ig stands for immunoglobulin, and lysozyme. The function of the saliva, it moistens the food and compact the food into bolus. Bolus is like a small ball, and push it to the back of the mouth for swallowing and easy passage through pharynx and esophagus. Differences between the exocrine and endocrine gland. Exocrine gland, it does not pour its secretion into the blood or lymph, while the endocrine gland pours its secretion into blood or lymph. Second difference, exocrine gland, a duct is often present, while in the case of endocrine glands, duct is absent. Third, exocrine gland, the secretion is poured directly into the targeted tissue. Endocrine gland, the secretion is transported to the target tissue through blood. Fourth, exocrine gland secretes enzyme, for example, sebaceous gland and sweat gland, while the endocrine gland secrete hormones, for example, thyroid, pituitary, adrenal. Digestive enzymes in the mouth, salivary amylase, the function of which is carbohydrate breakdown. Mastication, that is chewing process, and saliva work in harmony, means unity or cooperation. Chewing increase the surface area of the food. How it increase the surface area of the food? By breaking down it into smaller particles. Makes it easy for the enzyme to break down the starch. Almost no protein and fat digestion occur in the mouth except Ebner's gland. The Ebner gland present on the dorsal surface of the tongue release lingual lipase. The function of lipase is it helps in the breakdown of lipids. Lingual lipase, lingual word is derived from a Latin word lingua, which means tongue. While it is released from the Ebner gland, Ebner was actually the name of the scientist. In the honor of the scientist, the name is given to the gland. The action of teeth and the tongue prepared the food for swallowing. The action of teeth is grinding, and on the tongue, glands present that release enzymes. To prevent the food in throat from rising into the nasal cavities, the soft palate closes off nasal cavity. What is soft palate? The roof of the mouth, separating the cavities of the mouth and the nose, or also preventing the food from moving down to the windpipe trachea by means of epiglottis. This is the diagram of the anatomy of the human mouth. If you touch your tongue with the roof of your mouth, you can feel that the front part is hard, that is known as the hard palate, while the part that is present behind is soft, which is known as the soft palate. That finger-like projection on or the hanger-like structure is known as uvula. What is the function of uvula? The soft palate and the uvula move together to close off the nasopharynx. Naso word is for the nasal cavities and pharynx, and prevent the food from entering into the nasal cavity while swallowing the food. These are shown the tonsils, the part of the body's immune system. Because of their location in the throat and palate, they can stop the germs entering the body through the mouth or the nose. The tonsils also contain a lot of white blood cells which are responsible for killing the germs. Now the larynx and the epiglottis. The function of epiglottis is it is a lid like structure or cover like structure which closes the glottis while the food is passing from the pharynx to the esophagus. You can see in the diagram, when we take the food from our mouth, it goes into the pharynx while the nasal cavities also open into the pharynx. The pharynx is further divided into two tubes. One is known as the esophagus, another one is known as the larynx. The food from the pharynx will enters into the esophagus, while the air from the pharynx will enters into the larynx or trachea windpipe. When the food is passing from the pharynx to the esophagus, at the tip of the larynx, a lid-like or cover-like structure is present, which is known as epiglottis. The function of epiglottis is to close the glottis while the food entering from the pharynx into the esophagus. The function of which is to prevent the food from entering the trachea or windpipe. The swallowing process is regulated by the nerves that are present in the medulla oblongata and the pons. Medulla oblongata and pons are the parts of the brain. The reflex is initiated by the receptors that are present in the throat. What is reflex? It is involuntary, means not in your control, and instant movement. Instant means quick. So involuntary and instant movement in response to the stimulus. As the food enters from the mouth into the pharynx, it is not in our control. Now the swallowing process. There are 3 stages of swallowing. First one is the oral or mouth stage. The function for the process of digestion that takes place in the mouth. Mastication, that is the chewing process. Saliva, the function of which is to compact the food into the bolus. Enzymes are present that help in the digestion. For example, amylase break down carbohydrate, lingual lipase break down lipid. When the food is broken down into smaller pieces and mixed with the saliva, results in the formation of bolus or a ball-like structure. Then this bolus will become swallowed, means from the oral cavity will enters into the pharynx. The soft palate and uvula present in the mouth, it also prevents the food from entering into the nasal cavities. Second stage, pharyngeal stage. The larynx, it lifts up to meet the epiglottis, lid or cover like structure, which lowers and seal the windpipe. Trachea, it stops the food or liquid from being aspirated. Aspirated means food or liquid that enters the air passages. So it protects the food and liquid from being aspirated into the lungs. Tidbit. Choking is the reflex action when food or liquid passed into the trachea. What is choking? It is the difficulty in breathing because of the obstruction or barrier of air passages. It involves a sudden forceful expulsion of air, the function of which is to remove the food or liquid particle from the airways. Third, the esophageal stage. The food from the pharynx will enter into the esophagus. So the bolus is passed into the esophagus by the autonomic contraction of the pharynx. Autonomic means that is not in our control. Once the food enters from mouth into the pharynx, then it is further not in our control. Throughout the digestive tract, muscles are present, the function of which is to contract and pass the food further downward to the stomach and small intestine. So the food or bolus, it travels into the stomach by the gravity and the reflex action. Here the gravity means as all the organs of the digestive tract, they are empty. So food travels down by means of gravity. The swallowing is entirely autonomic and cannot be controlled. You can see in this diagram different stages of the swallowing process. First one is the oral stage, when the food enters into the mouth. This is, you can see the epiglottis, it is open. When the food from the mouth enters into the pharynx, you can clearly see in the diagram a change in the shape of this region, that is epiglottis closing over the glottis in order to protect the food from entering into the trachea or windpipe. Last is the esophageal stage, when the food from the pharynx passes down the esophagus. The epiglottis will again become open in order to allow air to enter into the windpipe or trachea. Peristalsis. Once the food enters the esophagus, it is pushed toward the cardiac sphincter by the smooth muscle contraction called peristalsis. Sphincters are the valves or muscles, the function of which is to open and close and allow the food to pass through it. It also prevents the backward movement of the food in normal circumstances. Therefore, food all moves forward. The process is known as the peristalsis. Or in other words, peristalsis is the downward wave-like movements of the smooth muscle of the gastrointestinal tract that propels the food from mouth to stomach or gastrointestinal tract. In some cases, the food sometimes moves backward or upward. The process is known as antiperistalsis. What is antiperistalsis? The upward or backward wave-like movement of the smooth muscles that propels the food from the stomach to the mouth against the normal process that results in vomiting. Now, in the case of normal peristalsis process, food travels from mouth to stomach in about 4 to 8 seconds. Peristalsis occur throughout the length of the digestive tract because of the presence of muscles and is responsible for keep things moving, and the occasional strange sound arise sometimes. Sometime when you drink water, you can hear the sound of moving the water from your throat. That is regarding these occasional strange sounds arises. Now the digestive tract is surrounded by both circular and longitudinal smooth muscles that allow for the rhythmic contraction or the peristalsis. Now the food in the stomach. Food enters the stomach from esophagus through lower esophageal sphincter. Sphincter are the valves or muscles. Physical and chemical breakdown of food occurs. In the stomach, churning takes place. What is churning? The mixing of food bolus to the pulp, as a result of which chyme is formed. What is a pulp? It is the combination of the digestive hormones, enzymes and gastric juices that helps to break down food and convert the bolus into the form of chyme into smaller particles for the absorption into the bloodstream. The volume of the empty stomach, it is 50 ml. After meal, its capacity may increase to up to 1 liter, while it may holds 4 liter. The chyme from the stomach moves to the small intestine through the pyloric sphincter. Sphincter are the valves or muscles, while pylorus, it is the last part of the stomach where the stomach joins small intestine. Now the structure of stomach, shaped like letter J. Location, the stomach is situated in the middle of chest behind the liver, present between esophagus and small intestine. There are 4 regions of the stomach. First one is known as the cardiac. Cardiac word is for the heart. The part of the stomach that is present near the heart is cardiac region. So first one, cardiac region, where the content or the food or bolus from the esophagus enters into the stomach through esophageal sphincter. Second part is known as fundus. It is the expanded area curving above esophageal opening, the function of which is to accumulate or store the food. The food from mouth to the pharynx or esophagus, its passage is very fast, but from the stomach and onward, food passage becomes very slow because in the stomach and small intestine, juices and enzymes are present, the function of which is to digest and further absorption of foods takes place. Therefore, the passage of food in the stomach and small intestine is slow. So, in the fundus, food is stored and passed down to other two parts of the stomach slowly and gradually. So, the fundus perform the function of storage of food. Third part is the body. It is the central largest region, and last part of the stomach is the pylorus. It is the end of the stomach where stomach joins small intestine. First part of the small intestine known as duodenum. This part having the sphincter which is known as the pyloric sphincter. Pylorus is a Latin word which means gatekeeper. The name given because it is the last part of the stomach. Food from the stomach enters into the duodenum, first part of small intestine, by means of porus that have the pyloric sphincter. Wall of the stomach, it is lined with millions of gastric glands which secretes 400 to 800 milliliter of gastric juice at each meal. Now the internal structure of the stomach. Stomach externally is divided into four parts. This part where the esophagus joins the stomach is known as cardiac region. Second expanded part, the function of which is to store or accumulate food, is known as fundus. The next largest part, it is known as the body, and the last part where the stomach joins the first part of the duodenum is known as pylorus. The region where esophagus join the stomach, sphincters are present, that is known as cardiac sphincter or esophageal sphincter. Then these are the muscles present, muscularis externa, a region of muscles responsible for the process of peristalsis. Three types of muscle present in the stomach. First one, longitudinal layer. Second one is circular layer, while the third one is oblique layer. This is the part of stomach showing less curvature. Curvature is for the curve, while this part of the stomach, it shows the great curvature. Next to the muscles, these folds are present, that is known as the rugae of mucosa. Rugae means folds. The function of this rugae or fold, they provide elasticity by allowing the stomach to expand when a bolus enters it. This is the pyloric antrum. The pyloric antrum is the initial portion of the pylorus, the last part of the stomach. Next is the pyloric canal, the function of which is, it is the opening of the stomach to the duodenum. And then the pyloric sphincter or valve, the function of sphincter or valve, they open and close and control the passage of food, and in normal circumstances it also block the backward flow of the food. At the end of pylorus, pyloric orifice is present, that is the hole or opening or aperture through which food from the stomachs enters into the duodenum, the first part of the small intestine. Now the layers of the stomach: mucosa, submucosa, muscularis and serosa. As you can see in the diagram, the layers that are elaborated in this short one diagram. First internal is the mucosa, next to the mucosa is submucosa, then muscular layer, and then the serosa layer. The functions of these layers: first one, the mucosa layer, It secretes the mucus that protect the lining of the stomach from the HCl. HCl is released in the stomach when food reaches the stomach. Second layer is the submucosa. The nervous tissue in the submucosa, it monitors the content of the stomach and controls the smooth muscle contraction as well as the secretion of the digestive substances onto the food. Third is the muscularis or muscle layer, the function of which is to contract, as a result of which process occur that is known as the peristalsis. And the last layer is the serosa. The serosa layer, it secretes a serous, which is a fluid, the function of which is that lubricate and moisten in order to reduce the friction created from the muscle movement. Several kinds of tissues, cells found in the gastric glands. The cells are parietal cells, chief cell, mucus secreting cell, hormone secreting cell. First one is the parietal cell. The functions of the parietal cell, it secrete HCl and intrinsic factor. First one, HCl. The parietal cell, it contains H-ATPase. As you can see in the diagram, when the hydrogen ions from the parietal cell moves into the lumen of the stomach, lumen is the empty cavity. This movement required energy. Energy is being provided by means of ATP. ATP is converted into ADP and inorganic phosphate. The energy of the ATP is utilized for the transport of hydrogen ion from the parietal cell to the lumen. And also the chloride, when it transports from the parietal cell to the lumen, this hydrogen and chloride when combined together results in the formation of HCl. The concentration of hydrogen ion in gastric juice, it is 0.15 m. M is for molar, which gives pH less than 1. Second function of the parietal cell, intrinsic factor, it binds with vitamin B12 that is present in the food in the presence of calcium ions and enable it to be absorbed by the intestine. Intrinsic factor, it is a protein. Second type of cell known as chief cells. Two function of chief cell, it secrete pepsinogen and gastric lipase. First one, pepsinogen. When parietal cell secretes HCl, the pepsinogen activates into pepsin. Pepsinogen is inactive form of the pepsin. Pepsin is secreted in inactive form, pepsinogen, in order to protect the cells of the stomach from being digested by the pepsinogen. Pepsinogen only activate into pepsin when there is food into stomach. Second, gastric lipase. The function of lipase is it digests the lipids. Third one, mucus secreting cells. The function of mucus secreting cell is to secrete mucus on the stomach wall that form protective coating on the stomach wall, prevent damage from the HCl. Originally it was thought that peptic ulcer is caused by the erosion of the mucous lining of acid. Peptic word means able to digest and erosion is the removal. So previously it was thought that ulcers, they are caused by the damage to the mucous lining by means of HCl, but recent research shows that ulcer may also be caused by a bacteria known as Helicobacter pylori. Fourth, hormone secreting cell, that is G cell. They are known as G cells because secrete gastrin. So gastrin secreted by the endocrine cells, G cells, in the stomach in response of food arrival. The function of this gastrin, they stimulate acid secretion. Fifth type of cell known as D cells. D word is for the delta. The function of D cell or delta cell, secrete the hormone somatostatin. The function of somatostatin is it inhibits the acid in order to protect the over secretion of the acid. Somatostatin that is present in the pancreas, it inhibits secretion of insulin and glucagon, means over secretion. And the last type of cell, enterochromaffin. The function of enterochromaffin, it releases histamine. What is the function of histamine? It stimulates the acid secretion. The diagram showing the cells of the gastric glands. First one cell type, mucus secreting cell. The substances secreted by the cells are the mucus and bicarbonate. Next is the parietal cell, the function of which is to secrete HCl and intrinsic factor. Enterochromaffin that secrete histamine. The function of histamine is it stimulates the acid. Another one, chief cell, the function of which is to secrete pepsinogen and gastric lipase. Fourth one is the D cells, the function of which is to secrete somatostatin. Somatostatin inhibits acid, means protect over secretion of HCl. And the last type of cell, that is the G cells that secrete gastrin. The function of gastrin is it stimulate acid secretion. So this is the diagram of different types of cells present in the gastric glands of the stomach.